In the wake of the Me Too movement, the debate on separating harmful artists from their art has taken a serious shift towards the opinion that artists and their art cannot be separated. Dozens of think pieces from all corners of the internet have covered the subject, with the emergence of stories such as XXXTentacion's domestic violence trial and the surviving R. Kelly documentary. The dilemma of supporting troubled young artists who make great music has fully involved the newest generation of hip-hop artists and fans. Clearly, these artists have touched lives with their work. There are powerful truths in songs such as The Race, Murder on My Mind, and Sad that speak to how quickly young black men have to grow up and take extreme measures to either survive or simply have an identity. But since so much of today's best hip-hop music directly includes details of artists' lives, what is a fan's responsibility when their favorite artist is guilty of something they have put in their music? On June 23rd of this year, was sentenced to 55 years in prison for his part in a 2016 armed robbery in Mansfield, Texas, that resulted in the death of a 21-year-old Ethan Walker. Just 8 months ago in November of 2018, Tay-K's friend Jalen Bell, better known as Pimpy Z, the associate shouted out in Tay-K's now platinum single The Race, was sentenced to 30 years in prison for his role in the armed robbery. Both Tay-K and Pimpy Z were under the age of 18 when the crime was committed, and when they were both arrested and charged with several crimes, including capital murder. There are a number of factors that made Tay-K's artistry and his surrounding legal drama so intriguing. Starting with the obvious, Tay-K was a literal fugitive when he dropped the music video for The Race. While on house arrest awaiting capital murder charges for the 2016 robbery, he tweeted in March of 2017, "F this house arrest, 12, they gonna have to catch me on hood." Soon after, Tay-K and an associate cut off their ankle monitors and fled. As if escaping house arrest and jumping state lines to evade authorities wasn't real enough for a 17-year-old, Tay-K released The Race and shot its accompanying music video while on the run, complete with guns and a Corvette convertible. Also, during the 3 months he spent on the run, Tay-K allegedly robbed and shot photographer Mark Saldivar outside of a Chick-fil-A in San Antonio, as well as attacked and robbed a 65-year-old man at gunpoint in his hometown of Arlington, Texas. Along with the circumstances under which The Race was released and its music video was shot, the lyrics are an unfiltered look into the circumstances as well as into the mind of a young yet shockingly committed criminal. In a culture where one of the biggest criticisms thrown at artists is a lack of authenticity, the complete honesty and transparency in Tay-K's music surprised people and fully captured their attention. This is what made supporting Tay-K such a problem. Tay-K certainly is not the first rapper to be honest about what they've done in the streets. But the recency and specificity of the crimes Tay-K was admitted to on The Race took the song to a completely different level. Enjoying The Race and supporting Tay-K's crimes were basically inseparable things. Enjoying that particular song meant Tay-K's story was worth more to people than the death and the damage he caused on the way to making that record. Though this song is Tay-K's genuine truth, it comes at a heavy cost. As accurately pointed out by Yo Phillips of DJ Booth, this isn't a new phenomenon. We've been dancing to murder charges for years now, including Bobby Shmurda's Hot and YNW Melly's Murder on My Mind, which we'll discuss later. An added element of complexity in Tay-K's case was how young he was when all of this went down. While the choices he made were his and his alone to reckon with, there's something to be said about the conditions that lead to a high school student being bold enough to coordinate armed robberies with friends. There's something even more chilling about how well Tay-K knew his way around weapons, with lines like Smith & Wesson made my 9 with subcompaction in The Race, and Chopper with a stock and a on a scope in Murder, She Wrote. In I Love My Chopper, Tay-K explains how violent crime was always around him growing up, rapping, "My mama insane and my daddy OG, so now I'm insane, I don't know what to think." In a 2017 interview with The New Yorker, Donald Glover took a minute to talk about Tay-K's story, calling it a real Jesse James story and exclaiming, "Look at this kid, he's a baby, he never had a chance." The view of Tay-K as having childlike innocence is supported despite his very violent music, referring to himself as cartoon characters like Mega Man and the Rugrats, along with silly lines that undermine the seriousness of the violence in his bars, such as "Sneak up in his trap under the bed like a monster" in Murder, She Wrote. Glover went on to share his view of what rap is as an art form, saying, "Rap is, I don't care what you think in society, wagging your finger at me for calling women bitches when, for you to have 2 cars, I have to live in the projects." He later went on to say Tay-K will definitely die for the crimes he's committed, expressing sadness. While the story is more low-key than Travis Scott and other rappers tweeting free Tay-K and doing the race remixes, Donald Glover's brief take on a young rapper was probably the most thorough and high-profile support of Tay-K's story. But again, the question remains, is it worth supporting the artist if their clout costs innocent lives? With Tay-K sentenced to most, if not all, of his life in prison, is it okay now to enjoy his work, or should it only be used to discuss the meaning of his dramatic and sad story? Many of these same questions plague YNW Melly, the Florida rapper and crooner best known for his now 3-time platinum single Murder on My Mind. The song's main melody is sweet yet paranoid, with Melly fighting violent thoughts before he accidentally shoots a friend of his he mistook for an enemy. Eerily enough, Melly wrote the song in 2016 while in jail, years before the actual murders of the song foreshadows. The song was released to SoundCloud in 2017, but the song did not go viral until the music video came out in August 2018. Just 2 months after the video for Murder on My Mind was released, 2 YNW crew members, Anthony YNW Sack Chaser Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr., were shot and killed in October 2018. Months later, just this past February of 2019, YNW Melly, real name Jamel Demons, and YNW Bortland, real name Cortland Henry, were arrested for the double murder of their close friends. Forensic evidence looked at by the Miramar, Florida Police Department concluded that Melly and Bortland committed the murders and staged the crime scene to look like a drive-by shooting. Melly and Bortland are both currently on trial, and Melly faces the death penalty. Given the length of time between Melly first writing the song and being part of the double murder of 2 friends, many were left wondering what happened to drive Melly to that point. Was the song a cry for help or a letter of intent? As covered by Complex, Melly's history with violent crimes does not start with the 2 murders. In 2016, he was sent to jail for a year after opening fire on 3 high school students near Vero Beach High School. In June of 2018, several months before Melly's rise to fame and the murders of his YNW associates, he was arrested with YNW Bortland on drug and weapons charges. In a Billboard interview, Melly claimed he was in and out of jail at least 6 times for little shit between the first stint of the shooting and his first arrest with Bortland. Unlike Tay-K's music, which tells a story in a recklessly straightforward way, YNW Melly's breakout hit wants us to sympathize with Melly. Now that we know that he's as close to guilty of killing 2 friends as he can without getting the actual sentencing, it's haunting and weird to listen to Murder on My Mind. This is very similar to the experience of listening to much of XXXTentacion's discography because, like Melly, X was honest about his mental and emotional health. However, that honesty comes in conflict with his insistence on seeing himself as a victim and denying the very serious domestic violence charges against him despite a mountain of evidence. To go from a heartfelt song like Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares to lyrics and social media posts that shame his ex-girlfriend presents a dilemma to listeners. They either have to block out the allegations, consider the allegations and feel confused about X, or stop supporting his music because it's based on a doubtful narrative that he's the only real victim in his life. Often, music is what keeps many young hip-hop artists alive who express serious chaos or pain in their work. Their thoughts and feelings deserve to be let out and heard. But when pained artists gain from their art without trying to make up for the pain they've caused others, supporting work influenced by those misdeeds through praise or money can become support of the misdeeds themselves. Along with the artists we mostly focus on in this video, rappers such as Kodak Black and 6ix9ine are examples of captivating artists who present dilemmas in supporting them due to the continued harm they cause women or their dishonest self-promotion tactics. The worst part about talented yet troubled artists is that we wouldn't know they existed without their art. It is useful to know if teenagers in Texas are robbing and killing people, or if black kids in Florida suffer from serious mental health issues. But what we don't want to do is support the robbing and the killing or the pain suffered and caused by these mental health issues. It's a tricky line in hip-hop for us all to be mindful of as part of the culture. This has been a HipHopMadness original. Make sure to stay tuned and stay up to date with everything we got going on by hitting the subscribe button and notification bell. Oh, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HipHopMadness and join the movement.